Today, folks, we are ranking the last 15 Calder Trophy winners from worst all the way to the best. Now, I know you guys might be saying, Connor Bedard hasn't won the Calder Trophy yet, it hasn't been locked in, but come on, let's be real. Especially since he's come back from his injury, Bedard has been lights out, and it's pretty much a lock that he'll win the Calder Trophy in the end, even though I think Brock Faber is great competition. But Bedard's placement in the last 15 best top rookies is pretty fascinating, and you might not expect where I put him here. So over the last 15 years, who have been the worst and the best Calder Trophy winners, and how do I rank them from 15 all the way down to number 1? Well, make sure you watch till the end for all of the rankings and all the picks, and hit that subscribe button if you're new for more hockey content just like this all throughout the year. Now today, with the 15 players we'll be ranking, we're going to sort them through 6 different tiers, and starting out at the first place spot, right at the very top, is a franchise rookie, somebody that was already one of the best players in the NHL when they arrived in year 1. I got elite rookie as well, somebody that changed a franchise, came into the first year, and was already a major piece. Pretty great rookie, players that really got the job done, weren't exceptional, but still really good, really reliable, and pretty good rookies by themselves. Then I got solid rookie, just decent, just fine, but not anything crazy, and then meh rookie, and then F, naturally. Now let's start off today's list at number 15, and the worst Calder Trophy winner over the last 15 years. And it's kind of unfair because we've never had a player that's been really all that bad or really all that average winning the Calder Trophy. We've had a pretty good crop recently, but coming in at number 15, I gotta go with Jonathan Huberdeau. I kind of feel bad putting him in this last place spot because his rookie year actually was the shortened season back in 2013, going from the QMJHL to the NHL, playing 48 games, getting 14 goals, 17 assists for 31 points. Offensively, not too bad, but obviously that two-way game, even if it is a problem now, especially was a problem back then, he was a pretty solid rookie with some decent offensive numbers, but I think the shortened season definitely takes it back a little bit and puts him in this last place spot. Now, even though he doesn't really stack up against some other rookies here on the list, I don't think he's an F either. Just a pretty decent meh rookie that had a good year, but nothing special by any means. Next up, let's go on to number 14 and the second to last Calder Trophy winner here, and actually going to the Calder Trophy winner the year before Huberdeau came into the league, and that is Gabriel Landeskog of the Colorado Avalanche. Same draft year, but Landeskog played right after his draft season in the OHL, and in his first year at Colorado at 82 games, got 22 goals, 30 assists for 52 points. I think the big differences that put Landeskog ahead for me are the ages at which they came into the league, with Landeskog playing right after his draft year, and also I think just having more room to grow in his season too, and just look like a better overall player. Colorado's defensive systems were kind of in a weird spot back then, but Landeskog was already putting up some pretty big numbers like he would for the rest of his career. Now, even though I'm going to put him in the same tier in the meh range, I still think Landeskog was pretty substantially better and more impressive as a rookie than Huberdeau was. Now, we're going to keep going through the Calder Trophy rankings, but first, let's talk about today's sponsor in Sleeper Fantasy. Sleeper Fantasy is the best place to turn your hockey knowledge and turn it into big paydays. All you guys got to do is pick more or less on different NHL players on any given day. You can go through any different player, and today we got 6 different picks here, going for a bunch of different ones, putting $10 down to win $71 by the end. First, I got less than 0.5 points on Jacob Chychrun. Against Florida, obviously, we know the type of team that they are. Even though Chychrun's had a couple of really good performances, I think versus Florida, he's going to go dry. I also got Rasmus Andersson, less than 0.5 assists versus Winnipeg. This is also a player that, in terms of the assists over the past little bit, has kind of been a little bit weak over the past 20 games or so. So pretty good odds there. I also got Artemi Panarin, more than 1.5 shots on goal versus Minnie. Colorado continues to offensively put out a lot. Lehkonen is a part of that big time, especially over the past 3 games. I also got Sam Reinhart, more than 2.5 shots on goal versus Ottawa. They allow a ton of shots. Reinhart has really gotten this going over the past little bit too. I also got Andrei Svechnikov and Jake DeBrusk in that Boston-Carolina game. Less than 0.5 goals. I think that game's going to be really low scoring, and both Svechnikov and DeBrusk will be off the board. To make your own daily NHL picks, go in the description, click on the link, and sign up. And on your first deposit, use promo code GRAV, and you'll get up to a $500 match. Put $20 in, get free $20 with Sleeper. One heck of a deal there. And thank you so much to Sleeper for sponsoring today's vid. Now we can move on to number 13, and I'm not sure how controversial this one will end up being. I've been a big fan of this player for a long time, as you guys know. But coming in at number 13, I'm going to go with Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken. Of course, the Calder Trophy winner last year for Seattle. I thought he had a pretty good rookie year. In 80 games, got 24 goals, 33 assists for 57 points. The reason I would have him above both Huberdeau and Landeskog was already the immediate incredible defensive impact. He was already such a good expected goals against player, but Beniers was able to realize that in his rookie season already and play up to a great level. And even though this sophomore season hasn't gone up to plan, I think for Beniers in his rookie year, he was a pretty great one. But in terms of Calder Trophy winners, I would say was about fine. And for that, he's going to be the first player to be inside the solid rookie tier, where I think he rightfully belongs. Now let's move on to the first defenseman of this list, and definitely not the last. Quite a few great defensemen that made a fantastic impact in their rookie season over the years. But next up at number 12, we're going to go to the least among them, I would say, in Aaron Ekblad of the Florida Panthers. Now his rookie season was pretty solid. You could see what he was able to do after his draft year, getting 39 points, 12 goals in 81 games. That's nothing to scoff at, especially when it was one of the lowest goal scoring periods in NHL history. And Florida wasn't exactly a powerhouse in 2015. And at 18 years old throughout most of the season, he was already 4th in Florida Panthers scoring after the year. And I think to be able to do that, especially with the expectations as his first overall pick, is pretty impressive. And even though we would see a lot better hockey from him to come, his first year left a pretty good impression. And for that, we got to put him in the solid rookie tier. Next up at number 11, we're going to go to a player that you might not expect to see this high, because at every chance in this channel, I have ragged on this guy. But you know what? I gotta give credit where it is due, because he was a fantastic rookie. And at number 11, I have Tyler Myers. It's pretty fascinating to see his career trajectory, because I don't think we've seen him reach his rookie level heights ever, really. You see what he's able to do with Buffalo in 2010. 11 goals, 48 points, was a hitting machine. And for Buffalo, was looking like a pretty fantastic pick almost immediately. Though, since then, I think we saw him go into more of a defensive role, which he's been fine at points, but to me, we never really saw Myers reach that rookie heights. But he was a pretty good rookie, to be fair. And it's kind of sad to see the wasted potential in Myers' career since then, but still, I'm going to put him in the solid rookie tier. Now, we enter the top 10 best Calder Trophy winners, and getting us started here inside the top 10 is actually Moritz Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. And it's sad because, kind of like Tyler Myers, we haven't seen Seider be as good as he had been in his rookie year, but it's much different situations, because back in his rookie year, he was given all the opportunity and all the sheltered minutes to do whatever he could with it, and he did pretty good. In those 82 games, got 7 goals, 43 assists for 50 points, and looked fantastic in all 3 areas of the game. But you see, since then, last year, and especially this season, Seider has been jammed down this defensive hole. And even though he's been pretty good in those minutes, he hasn't excelled like I think he could. Detroit's deployment has kind of ruined his offensive potential so far, but going back to his rookie year, he was absolutely sublime, and I loved watching him. And even though he wasn't exceptional, he was a pretty solid rookie and definitely got the job done in Detroit's defense, was already their best defenseman by far. Now, the thing is, you could sway me either direction. You could honestly put him in the pretty great rookie territory, but for now, he's going to be the last player inside the solid rookie tier. Now, coming in here at number 9, we're really starting to get into the great tier of NHL rookies. And next up at number 9, we're going to go to Jeff Skinner, back then of the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's actually pretty interesting because he's the first 30 goal scorer on this list so far. And in 82 games back in 2011, he got 31 goals, 32 assists for 63 points, and was pretty underrated back then. And it would kind of take a little bit of time for him to find that goal scoring again, really in his last couple years at Carolina, and then with Buffalo to get that goal scoring back. But back as a rookie, he was immediately an offensive powerhouse, and for Carolina, somebody they desperately needed. Getting past that 30 goal plateau, being such a pillar of Carolina's offense, I'm going to put Skinner in the pretty great tier. Next up, going on to number 8, we're going to go to a player here that had massive expectations coming in and didn't really realize them until a few years later, but still was a pretty great rookie, and that's Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche. It's pretty interesting as a first overall pick back in 2013. He had a pretty solid rookie year. Afterwards, didn't really reach his great heights until he started to really pop off in 2018. You can see his rookie year was pretty fantastic. Not only was he great in the regular season, getting 24 goals, 63 points in 82 games, he was also pretty sick in the playoffs. 10 points, 8 assists in 7 games as a rookie. Those are pretty great numbers, especially coming immediately out of the QMJHL. He was a pretty special player back then, and there was a conversation for a long time that he might not reach those rookie level heights. That was the conversation around MacKinnon because of the disappointment after the first couple years afterwards, but his rookie season was pretty spectacular and was a sign of things to come, even if there was a little bit of patience that was needed. And naturally, he goes right ahead of Jeff Skinner in the pretty great category. Now we go on to one of my favorite rookies over the past few years, especially. In recent memory, this guy was an absolute beast. And coming in at number 7, I'm going to go to my boy Elias Pettersson, who has just become an absolute beast in so many ways in Vancouver. But in his rookie season, really came out swinging. In 71 games, got 28 goals, 38 assists, 66 points, was almost immediately a power play beast, and was just looking so good for Vancouver. And that was coming off an SHL season where he was breaking records, looking absolutely unbelievable. And it's really, I guess, not all that much of a surprise considering how good he was back then. But Pettersson has turned into a top 5 centerman, a guy that leads Vancouver in so many ways. And even though there's been some inconsistencies as of late, he's still incredibly talented. That rookie year showed it, and he's just gotten better and better since then. I don't really know if it's a hot take to have him this high, but I love Pettersson, and he's coming right ahead of MacKinnon in the pretty great tier. Next up, let's go on to number 6, and folks, we continue to get better and better. This is a player that was really close in the Calder conversation to another guy, which we'll mention in a second, but coming in next up at number 6, I got Cale Makar. And the thing is, back all the way in 2020, it was a really interesting Calder debate between Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. And personally, I was on side Hughes, and we've seen this year how he could potentially get the Norris over Makar and make that race interesting. But it was a pretty tight one, and I would say, honestly, Hughes would kind of be in the same position. Maybe Makar right behind him at number 7 if these guys were both on the list. But in Makar's case, he got 50 points in 57 games and was also a playoff beast, a point per game, 15 points in 15 games there. Makar, obviously, with the wizardry with the puck, the skating, it was all immediate at the NHL level and so much fun to watch. And I think it just shows how good that Hughes and Makar Calder Trophy battle was, because if either of them were on the list, as Makar shows, they would be the best defenseman to win the Calder over the past 15 years for me, by far. And Cale Makar finds himself as the first player inside the elite rookie tier. Now, for the next couple rookies, we're going to have older players here that made immediate marks at the NHL level, and 2 guys that absolutely dominated. And getting us started inside the top 5 is actually going to be from the Chicago Blackhawks all the way back when in Artemi Panarin, who back in 2016 was an absolute monster. 30 goals, 77 points in 80 games. Also was a point per game for Chicago. In 7 games, got 7 points for them, and was just electric all throughout the year. Obviously, Patrick Kane helped a lot, and that duo was really the cream of the crop. But Panarin was a big reason why that duo was so good, a big reason why Chicago was so rejuvenated, coming in as a rookie out of nowhere. And yes, even though he was on the older side of things, Panarin was still incredibly impressive, and it is still insane to do what he did as a first year in the NHL, and Panarin deserves all the praise for it. And dang it, I don't care how old Artemi Panarin was, he was still absolutely elite and comes in the elite rookie tier. Now we move on to number 4 and go on to a player similar in position, but I would say a little bit more impressive. Coming in at number 4, I have Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild. Now, the thing is with Kaprizov is that he immediately hit the ground running after a few years of straight KHL dominance. In his last year, having 62 points in 57 games, he came into Minnesota and was immediately their best player by far. In 55 games and 27 goals, 24 assists for 51 points. And unfortunately, because of that shortened season in 2021, wasn't really able to fully realize his potential back then, but he was already a pretty solid defensive player, already putting up great metrics all over the ice, and was immediately an electrifying superstar that Minnesota badly needed for decades. And you already know where he's going to end up, right ahead of Artemi Panarin in the elite rookie category. But now we get into the best of the best, the top 3 Calder Trophy winners over the past 15 years. And next up, we got to start out with the most recent one, likely. Again, Bedard hasn't officially won it, but he is going to win it. At number 3, I have, of course, Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, it is fascinating to see what he has done this year. As a pretty young guy to come into the league with a July birth date, he's been about as impressive as you could have hoped for. Yes, is the defensive game not there yet? Sure, but as an 18-year-old guy who was always an offensive guy, what were you expecting? On offense, he is Connor Bedard. He is ridiculous, and doing what he's been doing in Chicago has been ridiculous. 58 points in 61 games. He's been a monster already and will be so much better in a few years' time. He's just getting started, folks, but his rookie season is already among the best. And of course, you guys already know that Connor Bedard will be the first entry inside the franchise rookie tier. Now, we still got a couple rookies to go, and next up at number 2, go on to a guy that just missed the number 1 spot, but considering his age, it is still so impressive what he was able to do. And next up, we got from the Toronto Maple Leafs, Auston Matthews. It's pretty crazy to see just how good he started off in 82 games, getting 40 goals as a rookie, 29 assists, 69 points. He was already an absolute beast in the goal scoring department, and we've seen how that's transformed over the years, just getting better and better. Now 63 goals this year and counting. It's ridiculous what Auston Matthews continues to do, and his rookie season was no exception to that. Already breaking records, already doing so much for Toronto, and that rookie season really paved the way for what he would do in the future. And Matthews becomes the second very worthy entrant in the franchise rookie section. Now you might be thinking, who had a better Calder Trophy year than Matthews, than Bedard, than Panarin, than Makar? So many different guys that would have unbelievable seasons afterwards. Well, if we're just talking about pure Calder seasons, it's hard to argue that Matthew Barzal's wasn't the best. It's kind of insane to see what Barzal was able to do as a rookie, especially compared to what he was doing afterwards. You see in his first year with New York, in 82 games, he got 63 assists, 85 points, was already above a point per game. And it's kind of sad to see because he hasn't been able to reach those lengths yet, but he could get close this year. He's on pace for 83 points this year, so maybe if they go on a little bit of a run, Barzal could be able to eclipse that. But really after the seasons afterwards, it's like if MacKinnon never had that 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 seasons where he just continued to stagnate. It was kind of a question if Barzal would ever reach those heights again. I do think it is possible, but his rookie season was unbelievable. It transformed New York's offense. He was already the main catalyst and already one of the best playmakers in the league. And it was insane to see the dominance that he started out in the league with. And hopefully he can reach that again. But Matthew Barzal is your best Calder Trophy winner, and he comes in first place in the franchise rookie tier. But that's going to be it for my Calder Trophy rankings. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys agree? What do you guys disagree with? And what did you think of my rankings here today? I'd love to know all your thoughts down below and your rankings as well. Of course, make sure you share a video of all the hockey fans you guys know online and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And I hope you guys did enjoy. Also, click on this card for all my rankings content right in one playlist. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great hockey day and goodbye.